So I'd been wanting to watch The Last Duel since its release in 2021. I just hadn't gotten around to it. And I remember when it was coming out, there were a lot of like big epic trailers for it. And it seemed like there was a lot of excitement around it. It's a Ridley Scott film that takes place in like medieval France. And I thought it looked awesome. I was like, oh, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Adam Driver. This looks awesome. I love all these actors. How can it not be epic? It's a medieval duel film. I'm in. For whatever reason, I did not get a chance to watch it until recently. And I can only say I wish I had watched it sooner because it really is pretty fantastic. Now, I'll be honest, for the first 30 to 40 minutes of the film, I wasn't blown away. I was confused by the rapid pace, right? There would be 2 minutes of story and then a flash forward a year, and then 2 minutes of story and then flash forward a year. It jumped forward in time so quickly that I was like, what are they doing here? How is this going to work? Is it just going to keep doing this all the way to the end? Well, it starts with the duel, and you see the duel start, and then it flashes back and tells the story. But then you come to realize that it's telling the story from the three different perspectives of the main characters. And I think that was probably like the best thing about this film is, and I love when films do this. You don't get it super often, but when you do, it's awesome. When you get to see the same events, but through the eyes of different characters and how they perceive the events to happen, it makes for such an interesting story because you don't know who has the most accurate memory of the events, right? Or if any of them. As we know, memory is a very fickle thing. Like, human beings' memory is horrendous if you really look at it scientifically. We can all be in the same room witnessing the same event and have completely different recollections of what the characters involved in the story were wearing, what they said, what time of day it was, everything. And so I think it makes for a really interesting way to make a film, and especially played really well in The Last Duel. So, if you haven't heard of this, and I did not know the story behind it until I was watching the film, and it told me some things, and then I looked up some information online to see if it really was a true story, and it absolutely is. Before we get into this, I just want to say, I feel like this movie fell victim to, pandemic woes. I think it would have been much bigger. I think it would have made much more money, had a lot more buzz around it, had it not been released in October of 2021. Right at the tail end, or September of 2021. So it was like people were still afraid to go out. A lot of movies were releasing direct to streaming, and it just did not do well in the theaters. It had $100 million budget, and you'd call this a flop if it wasn't for the pandemic. And it had a $100 million budget and only made $30 million in the box office. Like, that sucks. It lost so much money. Ridley Scott is such a fantastic director, and I think people recognize his talent and the talent of all these actors involved so much that it would have done great. It would have definitely made its money back. I think it would have done so much better if it weren't for the pandemic, and it's really like a travesty that it came out when it did, that they couldn't hold off. Top Gun Maverick did so well, and it was like they were able to hold on to it. Because I don't know if you remember, but Top Gun Maverick had trailers come out before the pandemic. And then we didn't get to actually see it until summer of 2022. And it blew the doors off. Everyone loved it. And I just think this one would have done so much better if it was able to wait until a later date to be released. Unfortunately, it was not. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. Terrific performances by everyone involved. I love seeing Adam Driver in just about anything he's in. Dramatic, action, romantic, whatever. Like, he's fantastic. Love that dude. And then Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, come on. These guys have been some of my favorites since Good Will Hunting. Like, I absolutely love those guys. Anyway, as I was saying, this is a true story. And I just want to tell you a little bit about it, because basically the true story is the plot of the film. And so if you find it interesting, you'll probably enjoy the film. So the story, this tells the story of a December 29th, 1386 trial by combat, in which the knight Jean de Carouge, Matt Damon, dueled a squire, Jacques Legree, played by Adam Driver. And I think what makes it so intriguing and so, like, keeps you engaged is that, like, the crime charged against Legree is so foul, right? He's accused of raping Jean de Carouge's wife, Marguerite. And basically, you know, back then with these duels, there had not been a duel fought, a judicial duel, one that decided the outcome of a trial, right? In at least a generation at this point. And it was basically all but not done anymore. And Jean de Carouge, you know, took such offense to this, and that he could not be heard out and have a legal trial. So much so that he thought the best thing to do would be to challenge this guy to a duel to the death, right? And then the winner of the duel is declared the winner of the trial, right? So if he loses after accusing this man of rape, him and his wife would end up being killed. You know, he would be killed in combat, and then his wife would end up being killed for bearing false witness. And so it was just really, it was a very, it was a good film. It was a very good film. Was it Braveheart or, you know, some of the, like, most amazing medieval films of all time? No, but it was absolutely worth a watch, and I would highly recommend it if you're into this genre at all, or if you know, like any of the actors involved, because it really is a fantastic performances all around, and I really enjoyed it. So let me know what you think if you saw this. Like I said, it's been out for a while, a year and a half at this point, and I just got around to watching it, so I'm sure a lot of you have already seen it, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about it. Let me know in the comments below, or you can reach out on Twitter or Instagram, talk to me over there. And yeah, if you're interested in this sort of content, entertainment and pop culture, please subscribe to the channel, or favorite or follow Daily BS Podcast. And if you do decide to stick around and subscribe or favorite or follow, then I'll talk to you again tomorrow.